I shall now make a statement in my capacity as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs of Algeria. Bismillah.
In the name of God, most compassionate, most merciful, I express the loftiest of appreciation to you, Your Excellency, Mr. Secretary General, for your valuable briefing and for your accurate diagnosis of the developments in the Middle East, including the challenges that we must all address and everything demanded of us in the situation. We attend today's meeting while we are cautiously optimistic. We are cautious and apprehensive and also optimistic that the war has ended in Gaza following the ceasefire deal in the wounded Palestinian territory. This deal has long been awaited against the background of implementing an Israeli project in Gaza specifically and in the region more generally. It is a deal for which artificial impediments have prevented obstacles that were public and others that were secret. It is a deal whose absence has for long frustrated the international community, who has been hopeful that such a deal will alleviate the suffering of the Palestinians and that we will end the stagnated political process to achieve peace in the Middle East and to restore stability in the Middle East more generally. We thank you, and we thank the international mediators who have worked tirelessly to achieve this deal after 15 months of a war that has led to a catastrophic toll that is undescribable by words or even by numbers. Gaza is no longer Gaza after the crimes perpetrated that leading to more than 46,000 martyrs, most of whom are women and children. Gaza is no longer Gaza after the vast destruction it has witnessed that has leveled the entire area, including hospitals, stores, schools, universities, and even mosques and churches, as well as shelters and graves. Gaza is no longer Gaza after demolishing its resources and infrastructure and eliminating its social and economic lifelines, in addition to impoverishing the people of Gaza and depriving them of the most basic needs for a life of dignity or survival. And despite this disastrous toll, the Palestinian people chose to emerge in Gaza and throughout the occupied territory to celebrate the ceasefire and asserting to the entire world that oppression will not hijack the will of the Palestinian people, that injustice will not weaken the resilience of the Palestinian people, and that oppression, no matter how brutal, will not undermine their persistence to restore their full national rights as per international law. The ceasefire deal in Gaza represents precious hope for this Palestinian people, hope in life, hope in alleviating injustice and suffering, and hope in determining their destiny. If this council of ours has been unable in the past to provide justice to the Palestinian people, it is fitting today for the Council not to miss this historical moment and opportunity to uphold the full responsibility of the Council designated by the UN Charter. The responsibility that is not limited to addressing the impact of the aggression suffered by Gaza over the long previous months, but that includes as well addressing the core of the conflict and achieving the national Palestinian project. The international community can no longer tolerate the continued situation in the Middle East that has lasted for nearly 80 years, where one tragedy would be followed by a greater tragedy, and the Nakba would be followed by a worse and more bitter Nakba. Palestine's destiny cannot continue to swing between hopes and lost prospects and opportunities that rapidly close. Accordingly, we must realize and be fully aware that the ceasefire deal is not an end but a beginning, that the ceasefire deal is no more than an opportunity, the success or failure of which will depend on how well we seize this moment and build upon it. And this deal is only a means that we sincerely hope will deliver us to a greater and more noble goal, which is to resolve the Palestinian question irreversibly and achieve a lasting, fair peace in the Middle East. Accordingly, we call on the Security Council to focus the efforts during this present period on three main levels. The first level is strengthening this deal and monitoring its implementation in all its dimensions and through all its phases. The different processes emerging from this deal require this Council to provide strong support to international mediation as it monitors implementation of the full and permanent ceasefire, and as it monitors lifting the restrictions imposed on relief efforts, and in order to complete the exchange of prisoners and hostages and to achieve the full withdrawal of Israel from Gaza. The second level is related to the need of the Security Council to guarantee that that the arrangements for the next day in Gaza take into consideration the will of the Palestinian people and will protect the hopes and aspirations of the Palestinian people in order for the Palestinians to achieve their goals on the ground. Gaza is not land without owner or without people. The future of this land must be determined by the Palestinians first and foremost. Without foreign intervention that may deepen the divisions within the Palestinian people and move them farther away from national reconciliation. In this context, we must emphasize the need for the next day arrangements in Gaza to respect the unity of the Palestinian people and the integrity of the territory upon which the Palestinian state will be built, and to respect the unity of the destiny of the Palestinian people. These same arrangements must also afford a great importance to the plans to reconstruct Gaza and to accelerate these plans. Finally, on the third level, we must build upon the ceasefire deal in order to revitalize a political process under the auspices of the United Nations in order to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The ceasefire in Gaza will not be comprehensive or final or permanent unless it is supported by a political process that envisions and that is bold and that is sincere and that prioritizes a final settlement for the Palestinian question as per the two-state solution that is internationally agreed today more than before. Based on everything required by these three levels, Algeria will follow under the leadership of His Excellency Abdelaziz Tebboune, and as per its traditional role and active contribution to all international efforts, to do the following. One, to guarantee the needs of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip as soon as the illegal blockade is lifted, through participating in relief efforts and through providing support for the building of field hospitals as soon as the circumstances allow, and through our continued support for UNRWA, who has suffered an injustice and false accusations and was threatened. However, its raison d'etre continues. Second, we will support the reconciliation efforts in Palestine. It is a necessary reconciliation that must be achieved to guarantee an end to the divisions, the greatest price of which was paid by the Palestinian people themselves. Third and finally, we must protect the two-state solution that is enshrined in international agreements through preserving the needs for an independent Palestinian state and allowing it to become a fully fledged member of the United Nations, and as per international recognition at the international conference that will be held later this year. Thank you for your attention.